Hello and welcome everybody to this quick tutorial. Today I would like to take a look about the cloning process and especially cloning effects. For me personally, it was always the most difficult part or the most delicate part to clone effects in a festival situation. And I would like to show you my way of cloning. There are a lot of different ways of cloning effects, and that's just one way leading to, let's say, my personal way to make it go on, to make it work. Okay, I'm gonna turn off all the lights. I just want to clone here the spotlights. That's here my standard Ma2 template for cloning or for festivals. And I would like to clone here these spotlights. Let's go to the next side. Here to totally different setups. These are only spotlights. Before we start, let's take a quick look at our patch. Let's go here to Setup, Patch. And here I got the 4 categories of my cloning show file. And I take a look at these spots. I got 16 spots, 16 wiper. And they're separated in 2 rows. The first 8 from the back truss and here the next 8 from a center truss. And I would like to clone them here to my new spots. There are 30 meters and they're separated later in 10 on the back truss, 10 on the first center truss and another 10 on the second center truss. Okay, in my show file template I got here a layout view. And here you can see the original spots, the source spots. And here are the destination spots. Let's go straight away here to the clone window. I think it's the same way here, a lot of people using, a lot of technicians working with cloning. Just creating 2 groups, a clone from group and a clone to group. In the clone 1 group you copy the source fixtures and in the other group you copy the destination fixtures. Then I got here a few macros for cloning and also a few macros for the key commands. Okay, let's unlock the clones and make a symmetric selection to copy our source fixtures. I prepared here a macro for storing. Let's clear them and let's do the same, also a symmetric selection to the clone 2 part. The center is here, so let's go here out. Here I go towards inside, outside. Coming back on the other side, going to in, going to out. And closing the whole symmetry. And I'm gonna store this here to the clone 2. Important as an override. Clear everything and that's it. Let's take a look here at the macros. Here in the first macro, I'm gonna clone the first group, the source group, to the destination group if there are presets inside. And I'm gonna start with the first preset, merge and well, and so on. Then we're gonna do the same here, cloning the sequences. Also only cloning if there's something in the sequence, if the sequence is existing or if the fixtures are existing in the sequence. Now doing the same with the groups. Here I'm gonna use the low priority merge. This is making here a copy straight inside. And here is a special thing, the clone effects. Normally I don't use this in my show file, but I would like to show what happens if you do the same concept with cloning the effects. Actually it's the same, it's taking a look at the effects and then it's cloning. Let's do this. Okay, and let's take a look at our stage. We got the 3D simulation here on the left side. I'm gonna zoom out a bit. I would like to see our original stage and the clone stage at the same moment, in the same moment. Okay, let's put a bit, let's turn on the master. Okay, and as you see here, positions and everything is fine straight away. Also colors. Let's put them all to a 60-degree position. Let's say we're gonna turn off here the gobos. So the methods are much brighter. Okay, so the cloning process is fine until you come to the effects. Let's start, let's say here with a simple sinus effect. And you can see here it's making a nice circle, a symmetric circle with the sinus. And here it's a bit more chaotic. Also, if we go, let's say, to a movement effect, let's say we do a symmetric circle here. And let's make it a bit faster. Okay, you can see here on the left side, the original one is doing the effect fine. Yep. But our new stage, our clone stage, is not working. So we got here a big problem on the right side with the movement effects, or with all the effects actually. Let's turn off the effects and let's take another look. Let's say here intensity chase. Here it's fine, it's an even and up type, and here it's totally chaotic. And that always happens when you clone directly from a source group to a destination group, as long as the amount of fixtures is different. What I'm gonna do now for cloning is I'm gonna go a totally different way. I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna reload the show file from the position of cloning, but I'm not cloning the effects. Now we're back here at our cloning page. I resetted everything and we're gonna start again. First step, we're gonna unlock here the macros. Gonna clear everything and now we're gonna make a selection. Store them here to our source. Important override, very important now clearing. Let's do the same here. Store them to our destination. Clear everything. And now let's do the cloning, all the presets, all the sequences, and all the groups. This time we are not cloning the effects. Gonna clear everything, I'm gonna lock again the clone. And I'm gonna go back here to my layout page. And now I'm gonna prepare a symmetric group out of our new fixtures, out of the destination fixtures. Let's do it here as we did before. Same order. Should have done it before. And I'm gonna store them here as spot symmetric clone. Now rememorize, this is group 105. And I go here to the prepared effect page. And what I got here is effects for the show file, in the original show file, for our spotlights, for our beam lights, wash, and LED lights. For us only, it's important here, the spotlights. And now I got a macro here. And we're gonna start here, clone to effect. This one is cloning later our group, the group 105, to the effects. But let's take a look inside. This is a macro that is very long and took a long time to write it, but the good thing is you have to do it once, or if you go for this show file, it's already inside. The first step, I'm going to launch the macro number 3. Let's take a look at macro number 3. Here macro number 3 is cleaning the effects. Here I'm gonna go to an empty group. The group 5374 is an empty group, and I'm storing this empty group to all effects. When this is done, then I'm gonna select our group 105. That's the group where we made the symmetric selection for our source. Later also is doing here for beam lights, wash lights and LED lights, but we only take a look here at the selection or the section of our spotlights. Now it's copying this group to the effects, all the effects of our spotlights. Here some effects need a shuffle selection. When this is done, it's clearing everything, and then it's going to macro number 4. At the point where we right now, it's copying all the groups to the effects. Then macro number 4. Sorry, I'm in the wrong macro. Macro number 4 is a macro now. Let's take a look here. It's only working with the spotlights, and it's taking the selection in our effects and storing the selection with the effects here to our cues in the executors. Then it goes to the next macro. The next macro is same thing with beam, with wash, and so on. So actually what the macro is doing, cleaning up the effects and then doing an assignment of the new group to the effects and then storing the effects to the executors. As I said, it's a lot of work, but it's already done here in this showfile template. And it doesn't matter if you got 10 fixtures, 100 fixtures, 1,000 fixtures. The same concept of the effect is always assigned to the group. So the look, the general idea will always be the same. Okay, let's do this. Well, this will take a moment, okay. It takes a moment because it's also running through all the other effects and all the other fixtures that we are not using at the moment. You can see how it's running through the macro lines. Okay, that's it. Well, let's take a look at the 3D simulation. Now we are back here with our 3D view. I think I'm gonna turn off the prism again. No effects, let's turn off the effects. 60-degree position, and let's make this a bit to cyan color. And let's take a look what happens if we select this time the sinus effect. Okay, that's a big difference. Now it's a symmetric thing and it's doing the same pattern as we did before with the source group. Let's take a look here at this, let's say, even and odd chase. Well, this also is working. Let's take a look here at the circle effect. Also, it's working fine. Everything is symmetrically. And let's finally try a flyout effect. Yeah, and this also is working fine. Okay, that's my concept of cloning. I'm not cloning effects from a source group to a destination group with the cloning command. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reassign the effects. I'm gonna take off all the source information from an effect, assign the new groups where I want to clone to the effects, and then storing again the effects on the executors. As I said, it's a bit work with the macros, but it's much less work on the view, on the venue, in a live situation. And if you like the show file, you can get this. It's a fully clonable show file. You can get this here on getyourlightshow.com.